Why don't you touch quickly on, tell us why there's so many trainers on here?
Okay.
Why is there so many trainers on your Sketchfab profile?
Welcome back to Tie Kicks for a brand new video, and this one is with a bit of a difference. This is basically a podcast that I am looking at doing a little bit more regularly, but this was the first one to see how it went, talking a little bit more about what I do daily at work and some of my interests away from sneakers, but there is a little bit of sneaker talk. There'll always be a little bit of sneaker talk. Now, without further ado, let's get into the podcast. Dramas.
Ty's just moaning as he sits down.
Definitely not moaning. The point is we're supposed to be talking to each other this way.
But he wants to be a chat and a rant about stuff that we do all the time, which is scanning.
What is River?
Okay.
Because that's kind of important in brief.
Yeah, we've got the River sign here and we're at the River studio in the UK. River make virtual reality training, mainly for the blue light services all around the world. But we split virtual reality into two. There's 3 degrees of freedom and 6 degrees of freedom. 3 degrees of freedom is where you have a VR headset on and you only move your head around, but your bum stays in the same place. And 6 degrees of freedom is when you can move around and pick things up and interact with stuff. So River sells both of those to different people around the world for training, entertainment, museums, historical preservation, and it's sort of built off the back of doing photogrammetry. We haven't even said what we're talking about yet.
No.
So
maybe we just need to have a little bit of an introduction to what the hell is going on right now.
You give us a little rundown while I do the screen. Look at that trainer looking cool in the background.
We're kind of going to assess on a weekly basis different types of photogrammetry scanning, which is the art of creating 3D models, utilising photography and photos. Then special software will put it all back together to make it into a 3D model, like a puzzle, but a 3D puzzle, putting pictures together, and then you get a recreation, which in our realms, we tend to utilise mobile, don't we? Like we've used lots of different mobile photogrammetry apps that are available on Android, iPhone. There are different ones from something called Scaniverse, Recon 3D, is that right?
Yeah.
Polycam, but I think we're kind of pretty stuck with Polycam at the moment.
Can I jump in and give you my version of the word photogrammetry, like you just gave me your photogrammetry version?
Yeah, of course you can.
Photogrammetry, I always say, it sounds like I'm doing a script, but I am, is the process of taking thousands of images of any real-world place, object or person and making a 3D model from those photos.
Yeah.
Historically, we've used DSLR cameras, big cameras, to do that photogrammetry, or drones. But now, a lot more over the last 2 years, we've been doing mobile photogrammetry. And that's my version of it. But yeah, same thing. It's just that now I want to have everything as efficient as possible. So if I can do a scan, I want to do it on my phone as quick as possible and upload it straight away, as we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas Ross, who's the photogrammetry guy at River, he likes to take a long time, take lots of different photos from different angles and expose it properly. And all that is an absolute ball ache for me. And I just want to be quick. Whereas you're maybe a bit in middle. On the screen, I've put up a little bit of my channel, a little bit of Tyrone's channel. Look how yours actually look better straight away.
Why? Because I've done all of the nice backgrounds and it all looks a little bit more, I don't know, like a proper Sketchfab shop.
Yeah, I think mine looks a lot more slapdash. Look at the channels. Mine looks slapdash with a load of stolen models. And yours looks like a bit more pretty. But recently, I've been doing a lot more things, scanning with mobile phone and having a TikTok channel, which is massively gone crazy by people wanting to know how to do it themselves. So we thought we'd do a little bit more of talking about photogrammetry and the bits that we've scanned. Like we both went to Germany recently.
Yeah, and it kind of gave us an opportunity to show off different types of photogrammetry that we've done. We had scanned a good couple of months ago a rugby stadium that was done actually with drones. One of the things about a lot of these mobile platforms that are giving you the ability to get into photogrammetry, if that's what it is, and understand how it works, is that they some of the top tier ones offer you, with a paid subscription, access to a online version of their mobile app, which then lets you upload photos from anything, whether it be a DSLR, a drone, your phone. If you really kind of, you want to see a desktop experience, you can do it that way, which you can't do. You can't upload external photos to a mobile device.
But tell us, why are you doing the stadium? You're talking about the stadium because I've got it here.
Yeah, so just going to flick back into talking about the stadium.
And why we're in Germany.
Yeah, the stadium, obviously this is a rugby stadium, not a football stadium, but the importance of capturing this as a 3D model was to give a 3D representation or a digital twin of this particular stadium for numerous reasons. This could be utilised for security reasons if you're working at this stadium and they need to know all of the fire exits, all of the exits in case of an emergency, a bomb scare or something.
How did you make it? Sorry.
So again, this was done utilising a drone, basically taking dozens of pictures across the whole of this
How many was
area.
it, you think?
Look, this is 250 because this is a Polycam model that's been uploaded to Polycam. Polycam is only able to have a max of 250 photos, but you could utilise desktop apps like reality capture that will allow you to do more, but then you also got higher subscription fees to some of these desktop apps.
So to upload this onto Polycam, you just do it on a web browser with an internet connection.
Yeah.
But how much is Polycam to be able to do this? How much a month? Because I get people moaning at me a lot saying, how much is Polycam?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know if you remember.
£8 a month.
Oh, well, there you go.
Or $6.99. But it's not millions of pounds.
I think the thing is that once you start doing it, if you really do get into doing it, it almost becomes a non-issue because you're using it. I think that's where it doesn't matter what app it is. If you use it a lot, then it's worth the money. So I think for the both of us, we utilise Polycam as probably the main mobile app. And if they give you that access to desktop upload with drones, like with this one, and you could utilise it for different use cases. It could be very much for fan engagement. It could be that you can't get to a stadium and you want to have a stadium tour. You could add this in. You could do it in a 6DoF environment, or you could do it as a 3DoF, do video, not photogrammetry, 360 video, and do a package.
Well, that plays into what we were talking about because that's why we were in Germany.
Yeah.
We can talk about some scans that we did in Germany, but we were in Germany because we were talking at a football association conference and talking about how they could use photogrammetry and 360 video in the football world.
Alex kind of elaborating on a trip that we did quite recently to Cologne. We went for this particular football conference, Spielmacher conference, talking about different tech in football. This was a piece of technology that has a lot of tracking related to inside of the ball. And Alex, unsurprisingly, decided to photogrammetry scan this ball.
Cool.
And create a replica of it.
The woman was looking at us a little bit odd.
Yeah.
When we asked her a few times if we can go and have a competition, because you scanned the ball first and had a big hole in it. I went back and did it again and made a beautiful ball.
Let's have a look at the bottom.
So
little hole in the bottom.
So there's obviously a hole in the bottom because I couldn't do that.
It was on a stand. It was on a transparent plastic stand. So how are you going to get the ball to stand upright without it being on a stand? It has to be perfectly still. That's the problem with photogrammetry, is that any movement in any kind of thing you're scanning will eventually cause it to fail. It needs to stay perfectly still. And that's why actually scanning anything that moves like a human being is challenging.
Yeah, when people sometimes say, oh, can I scan my pets? I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Unless you've got 160 cameras in a nice big dome rig, you could walk the pet in, take the photo, and then have a nice picture. But
you could probably get a sleeping pet. That's probably the best you're going to get.
You did a sleeping child?
Yes, I did.
Is that on your Sketchfab?
No.
Oh.
No. But let's go back to this. So we visited a couple of different sites. We went to a church.
Cathedral.
Cathedral. Apologies. We went to a rather large cathedral, Cologne Cathedral, and we went in and had a look at some of the artefacts they have in there. And Alex,
you're going to say stole?
Unsurprisingly, went and captured a few items in there.
Well, let's just line that up a little bit. I went in and said to the cathedral, as I did the museum, "Hi cathedral, can I take photos inside your cathedral?" They said yes, I said good, and then I went and scanned a few things. What they didn't know is that I was going to put the model online on Sketchfab for sale for $14, which is what we're looking at now. Let's make it full screen. So this is, I forget the guy's name, but as I was doing this model, you were scanning some other things as well in there.
Yeah, I was scanning things using a slightly different app.
Here we go.
We probably won't elaborate too much on for
think
this
you
first
definitely should touch on it.
Yeah.
What was the app that you were using compared to me? I was using Polycam photogrammetry, 250 photos for this model.
Yeah.
What were you doing on yours?
So, sort of steering off photogrammetry in some ways is some new technology that is kind of evolving. It's not fully fledged yet, and it's been very much desktop related up until more recently with a company called Luma AI have created a NERF or neural radiance field capture app. And it kind of creates a recreation of whatever you want to scan, but does it in a very different way in how it generates. And it is quite difficult to export any kind of model from it, because the main reason is that it can capture things that photogrammetry can't, which is reflections, sunlight, light from, say, a fire or things like that. It's not always so dependent on you capturing lots of angles. With photogrammetry, you need to make sure you get a lot of photos to make sure that there isn't anything that's occluded, that's hidden. You need to make sure you get them, otherwise it's going to be a bit holy. And yeah, going back to like neural radiance fields, it's going to be something that's going to get better because it utilizes AI to try and fill in those occlusion gaps. But
don't get me started on all of that NERF stuff, because we'll have a longer podcast on our hands.
Yeah, but I'm just testing that, and not something that I would turn around and openly say is something that I would use for the majority of the scans that I do.
Well, you can see on this guy's face, he's a little bit shiny.
Yeah.
Ty was in there doing a scan on something that was very shiny, and your results were better, I admit, than this shiny guy. But I'm just a bit I'm a bit on the fence with NERF at the moment, because it seems like they're trying to make a shorter name for the word photogrammetry.
Whereas I kind of disagree, not because I think that what Alex is thinking is wrong. I think that there are similarities with both things, but I think that the use cases for them are different. I think that there's going to be people that will stick with photogrammetry because it's their tried and tested method of being able to capture 3D models for the most part. But there is a bit of I think there's a bit of a kind of misconception with NERF that it was sold as something that you could create these models with a lot less images. You could create things with minimal amounts of images, but it's not good enough to do that. But we have seen, and this is to stop any kind of bashing of NERF in any way.
What do you mean? Just because I'm queuing up a video on the screen?
Alex loves to go, this says you could do this with whatever.
Well, let's just have a look. Carry on.
All I was going to say is, we're seeing now with the way that AI art is being created, just by typing in a word or a couple of words, how some of the top tier AI word associated art apps can create amazing things. We just don't know what it can do when you start feeding it data from a video set or photo set at the highest end. We're not there yet because it's not evolved to do it that quick.
A bit of context why I put this on the screen. This is an NVIDIA promo video from 7 months ago. I'll turn the sound off and I'll press play on it, because on this demo, if you look closely, it looks like they used 4 images to make a 3D model. So they've given this like nice nostalgic thing about photography. Yeah. We'll skip through this. Okay, sorry, I missed a bit. Here's the 4 photos. So it looks like from this picture that they've taken 4 images of this lady to create a 3D model, which I think is massively misleading. This is all massively misleading, because when we did some research, we found out that this model of this woman was created using 150 photos, which we could completely do with photogrammetry, Polycam, reality capture. Most photogrammetry packages could do that model. But we thought, or I thought, most of the community thought, that NVIDIA were filling in the gaps around that woman using AI. And that, I think, is misleading. I think NVIDIA shouldn't have done that, and disagree with that promo.
I will say that there's one thing that you didn't notice about that promo that I've just noticed now is that there is nothing in that promo that says that it's just 4 photos.
I know, it doesn't.
And so just because it put 4 photos up on the screen doesn't necessarily mean that it was ever 4 photos.
I agree.
Unless it says it in some sort of context.
That'll be their reply. You sound like you work for NVIDIA.
No, but I'm saying unless it says it in some sort of literature that they put out that's in text form that says it was 4 photos. That video is something that I saw a long time ago, and yes, it gives the impression that 4 photos were used as the data set to input into Nerf. Anyway, digressing off, the main point is that Nerf is not there yet, but it is great to test. It's something that I think that if they can evolve that AI capability, it will have a use case. At the moment, it's not something that everyone would turn around and say is useful for 3D model creation.
Well, it was interesting seeing some of your results, and it's interesting that you were testing, or we've been testing it on a mobile platform rather than on a computer, because it was a pain in the arse to try and set up Nerf on a desktop. There was a load of code that needed to be done.
I think that the one issue is that at the moment, whatever is being kind of pushed out is going to be baked in. So there's no, where we talk about Nerf offering the ability to show that reflection and reflective elements or lighting and things like that. It does when it projects out a data set that shows a scene, like a massive scene, but there's no way to use that other than if it was to be exported as a file, like an OBJ or a GLTF file. When that gets spat out, everything is nowhere near as good as what you see as the app render, or what would be probably on the screen on a desktop version of Nerf.
Yeah, the render that you get, the preview of that Nerf looks amazing. Yeah. It looks like a video.
Yeah.
It looks like they've just rotated and given you a video from the frames that you took as you went around it.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's going to get better.
Yeah.
But then after the cathedral in Germany, we went to the museum.
Yeah.
Again, we said to the museum on the way in, "Hi, please can I take photos in the museum?" And the man said to me, "Yes, you can, but no flash photography, please." And we said, "Okay." So we paid our admittance to get in, and we went and had a little bit of fun and started scanning inside the cathedral. I think we were there for an hour or two, walking around. And I think I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 models. And they're all for sale now on my Sketchfab, which is stirring the pot. This is me poking the bear to try and say, what are the rules and the laws around photogrammetry scanning? Because at some point, these places are going to have to put a rule in place that says you're only allowed to take 5 photos in this establishment, or 20 photo limit. Whereas most places now say, take as many photos as you want, just don't use a flash.
Yeah, and I suppose that's where in lies the question to you, your point of view related to the grey areas. You know, at the moment, you'll just push the boundaries of those grey areas to whatever you feel, you know, you can do. You know, if no one's going to stop you taking pictures, then why not make a model out of it? And here's a prime example of something which is an Andy Warhol.
Nice little piece in the museum we were in.
But it's ironic, though, isn't it, that you've basically stolen Andy Warhol, which is something that Andy Warhol stole off
Campbell's
2 brands.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few comments on the TikTok video basically saying the same thing.
Yeah,
he would have loved it.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have. And the thing that's ironic with this is that obviously the history will tell you that he never asked permission to do these things, but eventually was given permission because it was good publicity.
So that's one of the models, the Andy Warhol that we're looking at on the screen. I guess there's a couple more from that museum that are interesting. This one you were actually right about, because some of the areas are a little bit ropey.
And maybe I should have nerfed this to give a secondary idea of kind of how it could possibly be from a different technology, maybe. Like, even though it is spitting out something baked in, like photogrammetry is. At the end of the day, whatever lighting is on it is baked in. So whatever you see, if it's really sunny and bright, that's the type of image that you'll see as a model. If it's grey and dark and stuff, it will be exactly the same. And at the moment, the visualization of a neural radiance field looks incredible with all of the reflectiveness or shine or whatever it may be, metallic kind of look to it. But when it pushes out a model, it has similarities to photogrammetry in terms of the lighting.
By looking like a bit like dog toffee. Or we say melted cheese.
I don't think it's as sharp as photogrammetry. I did a use case, did I tell you about this? Where I utilised Luma have their own desktop page online, which will allow you to load through a browser X amount of
like
amount of
Polycam Web.
data, but it's video data. Unless you want to kind of
Like Reality Caps did 3 years ago.
yeah. But I recorded 8K, which probably wasn't available on a consumer camera 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I fed it into it, and I fed a 4K version of it, and it looked no better. It looked no different, which was really shocking to me. Thinking, surely if it's a high resolution image, then if it's extracting photos from the frames, that you would think that the 8K would be a better resolution end product than the 4K resolution, and it didn't really look any better. So.
We need to have these things, if you're going to talk about them, as like videos or something that we can see.
Yeah, well,
next time.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's good to talk about it anyway, and I think that we're going to talk about the downfall or the downfalls of photogrammetry as well as the positives, because we can knock Nerf and say things are not great with Nerf, but we know from going to take imagery of something where you can't get all around it, where it's too high, big building or a statue or something, it doesn't.
You about to talk about Lady Godiva?
Yeah.
Well, this one I bought because it was in the same museum in Germany, and we both did it. You did it Nerf, and I did it Polycam.
Yeah.
But I haven't got your Nerf version to look at on the screen. But this is a bust of a lady. Looks like this was the Polycam version that worked, adequately okay. It looks fine. So when we compared this one, it was pretty similar. We brought this up in the office and showed Ross this model, your Nerf, my Polycam, and it was basically the same. But mine's $18. How much is yours on sale for?
It's not online. And also bear in mind that a lot of the photogrammetry mobile apps give you the ability to kind of crop and tidy. Not in Android yet when it comes to Polycam.
Let's talk about that quick, because everyone's asking that on TikTok.
Yeah. Why? From your knowledge of speaking to people at Polycam, why doesn't Android have a crop feature yet?
At the moment, Android has not got the crop feature, which means pulling the sides, pulling the top, pulling the bottom, so you can crop the model. And apparently they haven't got it on Android because it was in the back end of Polycam's photogrammetry software, it uses Apple Object Capture, which is a load of Macs running to make this model. So I imagine that it's hard to go in with an Android phone and change that Apple file format model. So they're having to do some workaround, but that's apparently going to be fixed very soon. So they'll have crop on Android soon, and everyone on TikTok can stop crying in the comments. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of comments saying, I've bought the Pro version and I can't do crop. And they also don't do video. So they can't even export a video from the Polycam version.
I kind of agree with them a little bit. Come on, if you're paying the same amount of money for the Android version as you are the iOS version.
I agree.
And you have less features, you are definitely going to have a problem, aren't you? You're definitely going to complain and say, well, my mate is doing it and they don't have X, Y, Z, whereas I do, and they're whinging about it.
Especially because most of these models have been cropped.
Yeah.
They've been cropped. So this one, for example, the Guide Dogs for the Blind.
Don't even get me started with this one.
Why? I don't know anyone's problem.
This is another grey area when it comes to morality.
Just because the video on TikTok's done 1 million views, you don't have to get all shirty about it.
It's not my morality, it's other people's morality. Read the comments.
Hang on, I put £5 into the dog's head before I did the scan of the dog.
I know, but most people would say you probably shouldn't have scanned the dog.
And I also put in the post on TikTok that if I make any money from selling this dog for $15, I will donate all proceeds to the Guide Dogs for the Blind. I'd just like to say I've made no money from this dog so far, and Ross is going to 3D print it. That's going to be more of an issue, I think. A lot of people are annoyed that I've scanned this dog.
I think it'd be more of an issue if he got him to 3D print it, he started selling it on Etsy or something. Yeah, I think that then all of a sudden it's gone from being a digital asset you're selling, with people complaining about the morals of it and saying it maybe is a bit morally wrong, and then selling real items and almost certain that will have some level of copyright, which 3D printing is a whole new ball game when it comes to talking about copyright printing of stuff.
We're going to have to get John Davies on to have a word about that.
Yeah. While Alex is searching for what he's searching for, we were at that museum for the best part of a bit of an hour and a half. Managed to scan quite a lot of different things. I think I managed to kind of do a photogrammetry scan of a Picasso. I did a nerf of another Picasso statue.
So you're a thief as well?
Yeah, because I'm like a little pocket collector. I'll collect my models, but I don't necessarily put them online for sale. I actually kind of like the idea of being able to sort of see them in AR, because that's one element of it. When you've got a model, if you upload it to Sketchfab, you can then export a file type that allows you to see it in augmented reality, which fascinates me how things will happen with AR and mixed reality with headsets in the near future, where you'll be able to kind of add digital assets into the real world, populate it in a way where I was trying to say this today to someone. Someone was asking me, like, well, what's that for? Why would you do that? And I said,
imagine glasses on your head.
Well, yeah, that's it. When it comes to like having an AR headset, whether it be glasses, mixed reality headset, you could stage an event with lots of AR related things in the room that could theoretically look more realistic than if you tried to do some crap print of it. Like you could have a model of a certain celebrity as opposed to have a cardboard cutout of that celebrity. You know? You could have...
And then film the camera, you mean? Film your view of it, and it looked like they're in your front room.
Yeah, you've got a Tesla Cybertruck in the middle of your event. It's not real. You know, like just stuff that kind of just blows minds. It just, causes a stir. I kind of love that kind of stuff. I could do it in a different way with Sketchfab.
Augmented reality. I think it looks wicked. And that's why you borrowed that headset the other day, and we looked at some amazing stuff that we can probably talk about that in the future, but mixed reality coming into VR headsets.
Yeah.
But that Germany trip then, so that was the end of that trip. We basically went and scanned quite a few items each.
Yeah.
You need to put some more of yours for sale. Why don't you touch quickly on, tell us why there's so many trainers on here?
Okay.
Why is there so many trainers on your Sketchfab profile?
Predominantly because I have quite a lot of trainers. And I think actually the downside is that one of my biggest hitters on Sketchfab is the blue trainer up there.
Well, this one?
Yeah, and I kind of wish I'd cropped the base off it. Alex is kind of one of these advocates of if you crop the base, you can put it in anywhere, even if it's got a hole underneath it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, because if you put it on the floor or put it on the table, you're going to see the underside of it. Because this has had so many views, I don't really want to delete off it, and it looks really good, like really, really good as well, like the leather that's scanned on the shoe. But yeah, going back to it, I collect sneakers.
Why are these ones done so well? Are these a famous trainer or something?
Yeah, it's a collaboration shoe with a fashion designer. They've done collaborations with Night Before. This is also a collaboration with a musician, Travis Scott. So it's a three-way collaboration between Fragment, Travis Scott, and Nike.
Swoosh.
And Jordan.
Oh.
So four-way almost, if you want to say four-way. And extremely limited edition. I think they released under £200, and they resell, if you're a reseller, I'm not a reseller in any way, shape or form, for £3,000, £2,000, £3,000. So expensive in real life. Might be quite handy in the metaverse in the future. Someone might want to rock a pair of these in the metaverse.
I think you should get a 3D render of your shoes with the shoes you buy in the real world, so you can wear them in the metaverse.
Yeah, giving people the opportunity to be able to have a pair of any real world shoe, it's on the store.
You see, though,
you can buy it.
You can buy this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you'll get, I suppose the downside is
$15 you can buy these shoes if you want to have the floor on them all the time.
Or no, you could, the thing is, someone who's buying this has got to be able to kind of work with it. And I've just been learning Blender recently to be able to try and crop things that have got too many artifacts in it. And that's the thing with Nerf, is that it pushes out an uncleaned up, uncropped scan. And I needed to clean it up. So you could just chop the base off it if you know what you're doing. Especially if you're into that kind of thing in terms of working with these different apps from ZBrush, Blender, different types of editing apps and sculpting apps.
And then tell us about that. You're talking about we should have something that cleans up a bit quicker. At the moment, with the crop tool in Polycam, you can only go on the sides.
Yeah.
What's the thing that you're wishing for or wishing that we could have?
Well, I put this to a bit of a Reddit debate on a photogrammetry group and said, is there any way to quickly tidy up? And it's not even clean up, totally different thing. That's like tidying up the mesh, if there's holes in it, if it needs sort of redoing in general. It's not that. It's more about making it look more presentable, like this is. Having a universal crop tool for different types of modeling file types. So I could import an FBX or an OBJ into it, and I could literally get rid of anything that I want, whether it be an eraser, I can just delete in 3D space, things that are just random, or just cropping off the base, or doing a cylindrical crop. If there was just one app that did that, that would be amazing. If something like Polycam decided they wanted to venture out and make a new app that was predominantly about helping people clean up their models in different ways, they'd be onto a winner. But no one's done it yet, and everyone on the Reddit group was, oh, just open Blender, it's easy to learn. Oh, just do this in ZBrush, you'll be fine. I'm like, really? I don't want to do that. I literally just want to open up an app, import my file from my files on my iPhone, and clean it up. And people will turn around to me and go, it's a lot more complicated steps than just doing that. But I don't believe it is, because you can crop on this tool in iOS.
I'm trying to find it here, but you can't actually see it on there.
Straight away, you've got the ability to make it look cleaner and tidier without any kind of, things you don't want in it. I think it's possible, and I dare anyone to try and create it, because I think that they would be onto a bit of a winner.
It literally won't let me do it in that. I thought, I don't know, no one's going to be able to see this as much, but this is what we're trying to talk about when we talk about cropping. And I don't want any Android people to see this because they might get a little bit jealous. Because you can crop, obviously, in here. I thought you could do it on the web browser.
No.
Obviously, we can't crop on Polycam Web. But Polycam Web is good for uploading your own photos. So I guess we're going to call it a day for this little chat, because we'll be here all night ranting, and you've got to go home to babies.
Yeah.
But I think we could definitely chat about more scanning applications and tools, and virtual reality, and video as well.
Yeah.
3D. That's not even. I haven't even started on 3D 180 video.
I think the key to it is kind of making people aware of what they can do
Themselves
People
at
are
home.
totally unaware of this capability. It's like there's so many pieces of technology out there that people don't know even exist, and it's like we've had conversations, which will be another podcast, I'm sure, about PG food, photogrammetry food.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing up this burger as an example. Imagine if you could go into a restaurant, you've got the menu. On that menu, it's got a QR code to every single item on the menu. You scan it before you order it, and it just appears in front of you. And you know what you're going to get.
Don't get me started.
But the key to it is that also, if it's a good burger scan, that should lead to the necessity for that restaurant to have quality control of how it looked.
I had some people say to me, yeah, but the restaurants won't want to do it because it will make them have to create the same type of food looking thing every time. I went, that's exactly why they should do it.
It should be like that. It's that McDonald's, age-old McDonald's or Burger King or whatever saying of going, look at the amazing burger on the advert or on the banners behind them in the store, and then you get your Big Mac, or
and it looks like a car crash,
and it looks like someone threw it in the box. It definitely doesn't have any quality control there, because they need to just push it out the door. And obviously, we're aware that there are people that are paid to make things look amazing. the hiding bits of cardboard inside of their burger to prop it up and all that jazz.
And every time, like when we were in Germany multiple times, that's our most recent trip. We always look at other people's food. If you go into a restaurant, you are guaranteed to look over there and go, oh, the burgers look nice, or the steak looks crap.
Yeah.
Like, that's what people do. So instead of, my argument for this is, I don't want to read a load of text. I just want to be able to see a photo. And if we can make that more of a joint experience, I think it's better. So my idea is that we'll get a QR code, pop up the QR code on my phone and your phone, and the food will be in front of us,
Yeah.
and one of us can control the experience and swipe through the food, but we're all having a joint conversation about a visual lump of food in front of us.
Yeah.
We can see the size of it. How big's the pizza? Have a look in front of you. You can see, compared to the knife and fork in front of you, how big that food is.
Yeah, and I think that is just one touching,
Or small.
like, it's the tip of the iceberg when it comes to talking about how 3D models can sort of come into the real world uses, not just sticking this into a game, sticking this into someone's interior design.
Render.
Yeah, 3D render from that standpoint. But you can, but why not try and make it more usable for everybody else? And now with the way that phones are, it can be.
Let's just touch on that. Before we sign off then, we're going to try and do one a week, aren't we, Ty?
We're going to try to aim to kind of give as much back about info related to it.
Things that people can do at home on their phones and also with software in the photogrammetry or video immersive landscape. Look, I just want to touch on this because the reason I've got excited by it recently is because the models sell. You've sold some and I've sold some.
Yeah.
So we go to my sales on Sketchfab and we look at the top here, 375. Oh, I forgot to say, I sold some at lunchtime today.
Oh, well, there we go.
I actually sold something today at lunch, and I'm going to bring up the screenshot.
Tilted Wig.
Oh, here we go.
The pie.
Here we go. The pie and mash at the Tilted Wig Warwick sold today, and it netted me at a massive $5.82. $5.82.
Yeah, that's
So let's bring it up today. That's what I was going to say. I forgot to mention this. It's a perfect time to tell you about it.
Yeah.
The 3D food had another sale today.
That looks really good. Like, look at the shine that you've got on the gravy and stuff. It actually looks
absolutely gorgeous. So when I was out earlier, I did a few little augmented reality renders of it on the floor in front of me because I'm going to make a TikTok video later on how this sold. And they seem to go down really well for view counts when you tell people online that with their own mobile phone, they could make themselves $5 for eating a pie and mash.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I suppose to sign off on my side.
Yeah.
If there's anyone that has any questions, any comments, please do write them in the comments section of any platform that this goes to. Also, make sure that you follow on any platform this as it goes forward in the next episodes to come.
Once we come out with some sort of name for it, because obviously,
if you've got any suggestions for a name for the podcast, that'd be pretty cool, and we'll try and have a look at them all.
Podcast and video.
But yeah, we're just scan fans.
Photogrammetry man. Maybe you've got our own channel coming here. We're making this here. You can have something that's your new channel. Because your Thai Kicks is trainers only. I think you should do it on the same channel though, because it's already monetized.
Nerf kicks.
There you go. Some sort of Nerf thing.
Doesn't make any sense, that one though. Thai Nerf.
Thai Nerf. Do some sort of Thai scan or Thai Kicks. There you go. New channel.
I like PG. I still like PG. I'm not a Nerf convert completely anyway. So I've sold more PG scans than I have Nerf scans. Look at it that way.
Maybe next time we can bring up your sales here and we can compare my sales versus your sales.
Yeah, we can also compare how many models you have for sale versus me. And considering that I think I've done well under half of your sales, I think I'm doing quite well.
Well, I've got 450 photogrammetry models that I've scanned in the last 6 months on my Sketchfab channel from Polycam.
And I've got probably about 12, and I've made nearly half the amount that he has. So should we go on a percentage basis? Who's winning? I think we should go on that.
Okay. Well, we'll find out next time.
No, I haven't got 12. Probably got about 30, maybe 20 something. I haven't got that.
How many of yours have sold?
Pretty much most of them. I've at least sold once. But I think I've...
That's interesting, the sold once thing, because if you look down, that's what people find mind-boggling as well.
Yeah.
You can sell the same 3D model over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Here, the female casualty has sold 3, 4, 5 times. I can already see her sold. That's interesting. That's better than NFTs because you can just keep selling the same model to people. Don't know what they use it for, but this... It's a little bit.
And this
is not real as well. This
is what's going to get Alex banned from TikTok.
Well, this got me banned from TikTok recently because we were in Germany, back to Germany, and I augmented reality popped this model out in front of the aeroplane as we were boarding the plane, and then posted the video on the runway, and I got banned from TikTok.
There you go. Well, for a short period of time, it's like a couple of days, wasn't it? And then you appealed.
Yeah, and then they let me come back on. But so this is a real live person, but she had wounds put on her, and I got her to lie still, and I took probably about 50 photos of her with a big camera. This was Canon. This was not mobile photogrammetry.
No.
Anyway, I guess we'll end it on dead bodies and airplanes.
Cool. Right. Till next time.
Bye. Look at that trailer. Looks cool.
Looking professional.
So this is $15.